News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT proudly presents America's coolest conservative. Well, proudly could be stretching it a bit. Welcome to the DJ Ritchie Show.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? How you doing? Me, I'm doing fine. All right now. Ooh. In a good mood. Even after breaking Brett Jensen, try to say I'm not the most handsome person on the radio staff. And I will say I'm not the most handsome. I think that Bo Thompson is the most handsome of all the radio people. But I'm a close second since I lost all that tonnage. You wait till I'm finished losing it. Then I'm gonna be, I don't think I'll ever be more handsome than Bo Thompson. But it's because he's got hair. You know, that plays a big part. He's got great hair. And I won't have that. Unless I get me a transplant. But I don't see that anytime soon. But anyway, look, we didn't come here to talk about me and how devilishly handsome I am, which I am. Everybody knows it, because I'm the green-eyed patriot. We came here to talk about the issues. I had someone text me just right before the show tonight, and this is a friend of mine. I had no idea that he even knew I was on the radio on WBT at night, much less knew that he was listening. Hey, Lonnie, you know what he texted me out of the blue? All he said?
No, what he text?
He said, shout out to the Asian immigrants. Damn.
Shout out to the Asian immigrants. Damn.
It's a little segment from last night that seemed to hit home with people. You never know what's gonna spark a bond with the audience. You know, it's something they're gonna latch on to. But evidently, that's something. Good deal. Now, I had a moment just a few minutes before the show, and I thought about something, and I said, well, you know what? That might be pretty special for me if it works out this way. I texted the program director of the radio station. His name's Mike. And I said, hey, silly question. Will I be the last local host to ever speak on WBT AM? Because I'm thinking this radio station has been on that frequency on AM for over 100 years, 300 years, 1,000 years. And, you know, when we switch over to that 107.9, which, you know, the switch is tomorrow, but there will be what's called a simulcast, just to get people used to the fact that it's over there and it's not going to be on 11:10 a.m. anymore, which, by the way, I do not understand why anybody, given the choice, would continue to listen to AM over FM. I don't understand it. But again, I don't understand the people who are so nostalgic about listening to vinyl albums either. I love to hear that crackle, my dearly departed partner, Ace, was that way. He wanted, if he could get it on, it's just something about that album, man. You put that needle on there, and I'd be like, come on. It sounds so much better when it's digital, coming out of your phone or any of that. So that's the same way I am about it. If you're going to continue listening to 11:10 all the way up until it's taken completely off, when you've got an opportunity to listen to it on 107.9 FM on the frequency modulation at 107.9 megahertz, it's just baffling to me. Because let me tell you something. This is the only time I've ever worked on AM radio, and it was driving me nuts. Not being able to hear myself in stereo, hearing the songs that I play in and out of the segments that are meticulously chosen by me, and having them come out in what is called mono. Ugh, gross. It's disgusting. Gross. Ugh. No, I'm kidding about that. But yeah, I said, am I going to be the last local host to speak on WBT AM? And you know what he said? He said, well, we remain simulcast on 11:10 a.m. until January 7. But assuming that there is not a UNC game or that we don't decide to do some kind of special programming on that final night, in theory, yes, you will be. So you know what that means, Lonnie Ray?
What's that?
That means they're going to put some special programming on.
No.
He probably never thought of that. Now he's called the market manager, and he's like, we can't let that happen. We cannot let the historic WBT AM go away and having the most unprofessional person that has ever worked on the staff be the last voice.
No.
I guarantee, because I looked on the calendar and there's not a basketball game, so I'm scheduled to be on. He's on the phone with Bo right now, saying, "Come on, Bo, you and Beth got to come in at night. You got to come in and be the last ones. We can't have that guy being the last voice on the 100-and-something-year-old radio station." You watch. But that's all right. Or Brett Jensen's on his way home right now. It's the only time he listens to my show, and it just hit him. Oh, my God. And he's not going to allow it. You know, he'll be up in here going, no. I'm staying on till 9.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be the last voice. You know, that's a lot of egos in the building. They'll be fighting over it now that I've, pointed out that it could be something special. I mean, you're going to have Winterbull, Callender, Vincent, Bo, Beth, Jensen. They're all going to be knocking each other down to get in the studio to be the last person talking on the mic because they want to be a trivia question. That's the kind of egos we're talking about. Ooh, I'm going to be a trivia question. Who was the last local radio host on the legendary WBT AM? And I let them have it. You know me. I don't have an ego like that. I'm not a prima donna. I'm just little old me. The biggest big-time radio personality of anybody in this town. No ego here. No ego here. Yeah, I mean, if they don't let me be the one, I'm going to say it's got to be some sort of bigotry. That's all. They say we can't let, it's an anti-Louisianian thing because I'm from Louisiana. That's what it'll be. They don't like Louisiana culture. But it'll be fun to watch. That'll probably end up making the news. It'll come to fisticuffs with those big ego hosts. They'll all be drunk, slugging it out, and I'll be reporting from the sidelines. Me and Anna Erickson will be the ones doing the reporting on the fight. Get a traffic report from Pam the Jam. The mayhem going on in the neighborhood, people trying to watch the fight. Oh, yeah, it's going to be huge. I can tell you that. All right, so let's get down to business. We got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. Serious business like I normally do. It's a lot of pressure being the anchor of the day on this station, having to bring it all home, everything that the other hosts left out. I got to pick up the pieces and get us ready for the next day. So we'll do that coming up next. Hang on.
More of the TJ Ritchie Show is coming up. Identifying liberalism, and mocking it relentlessly. This is the TJ Ritchie Show on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT.
All right. For the last night, this is the phone number for you to call, 704-570-1110. 704-570-1110. Text it as well. Thanks to Liberty Buick GMC for that text line, because the number changes tomorrow. Now, I messaged David, who is the head engineer, and I know him like that. I can just reach out directly to him. A lot of people at the radio station aren't given that privilege, but I am. And I said, hey, this switch over tomorrow, is that going to affect my situation at all with my equipment and everything that I need to do my show? And he said, nope, you'll be great. You're fine. And I was like, all right. So that's really all that matters, is that my show gets on. So even if the whole radio station has technical problems and doesn't get on tomorrow, my show will. So it'll just be dead air up until 7 o'clock, which is basically what it is a lot of times anyway. Blah, blah, blah. No, I'm kidding. But, I've been working this theory that the big time radio personalities in the on the urban formats of radio, that's the official title of the format, because you got urban contemporary, hip hop, all of those things. Like we're a news talk station, there are top 40 stations and so forth. But the big voices on the urban stations, I suspect, are getting kickbacks, getting some sort of, payment or whatever, just some kind of special prize for carrying out Democrat talking points. Because it's not above Democrats, professional Democrats, to pay celebrities for their endorsements and all of that kind of stuff. So I suspect that's what's going on. I don't have any proof of it, but I suspect it. Now, there is a radio host who I affectionately call Dumb L. Hughley. And Dumb L. Hughley is not just dumb. He is just vile, mean, grouchy old man. I get accused of being a grouchy old man, but this is a grouchy old man. Yeah, that's the way he talks. Blah, blah, blah. Now, I got a clip of him, and it's actually amusing because I love it when ignorant people think they're sounding smart, and that's what this clip is. It's Dumb L. Hughley thinking that he sounds intelligent when he's carrying this message. So much so that he says it the first time and then he completely repeats it right after that because he thinks it's so profound and so sharp he wants to say it again. He's also sitting, and this is how you can tell whether or not a person is a serious person. He's in the house wearing sunglasses. Anybody who wears sunglasses in the house that doesn't have some kind of an eye issue, like being blind or just having had some sort of eye surgery, you can't take them seriously. So here's Dumb L. Hughley pretending like he's an intellectual. Listen.
The very same reason that we don't have a GDP report.
Stop.
Is a very...
Betty doesn't know what GDP stands for. Just say it. Go ahead.
Is the very same reason that we don't have an inflation report. Is the very same reason that we don't have a jobs report. Is the very same reason that we haven't seen the tape of the second strike in Venezuela. is the very same reason that it took so much to get the Epstein files. We don't have a GDP report. We don't have a report on inflation. We don't have a jobs report. We haven't, despite what Trump said just 5 days ago, and he seems to have amnesia now. We do not have the video of the second strike. And to date, we do not have the Epstein report. It took an act of Congress to get it. And the reason that we have none of those things, that is from an administration that said it's the most transparent ever. The reason that we do not have a jobs report, which for the first time in history we don't have it. The reason we do not have a report on inflation, which is the first time in history we don't have it. The reason that we don't have a report on our GDP, our productivity, which is the first time we don't have it, is all for the same reason. Because they are all bad. They are all bad. Yeah. They tell the truth, and this administration doesn't. Now, see, liars figure, but when you have evidence of lies, that's what they try to avoid. So the very same reason exists for all of those things the American people deserve and want answers to. Because all of those things make the Trump administration look bad.
All right.
That's a little note.
Thank you. Thank you, Smokey. Yeah, because he sounds like he's been smoking 10 packs a day. Now, I suspect he's wearing the sunglasses in the house because he's trying to cover up his eyes because he's reading these talking points that he's been given. Because, you know, he doesn't sound confident about what he's spewing. That's why he repeats himself 3 times when he's saying it. He's got the camera off to the side, so it's just like a weird shot of him. And I think that they probably sent him, okay, dumb L, here's what we need you to say today. Go on social media and make a video saying this. Okay. All right. I don't even need to proofread it. I just pretend like I'm not reading it when I make the video. I'm put on some big headphones when I do it. That'll be distracting people. And then I'll wear sunglasses. They can't tell that I'm reading. I got it. They're going to think I'm a professor. That's how smart I'm going to sound. I'll do it for you. All right. But again, I just want you to pay attention to these types of things and see if you think the same thing. It could be possible that professional Democrats in the political world are throwing a little something to these radio people and influencers and all to carry their water for them, get these talking points out there, help with the manipulation of people who don't really pay attention to what's really going on. All right. We'll take a break now. We got more coming up.
The TJ Ritchie Show. Late, live, and local. It's the TJ Ritchie Show on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WPT.
Little mama, show me how you move it. Put your back to it. Hey. Shake that girl. Hey, listen, once we switch over to that FM business, I got a lot of new music and stuff that will be coming on, and you are going to be just completely audio stimulation through the roof. You'll get audio stimulation through the roof. You'll be dancing. You'll be rocking. All of that in stereo. You know, when they first started stereo radio broadcasting, they had 2 microphones. The person on the air, you know, it was the DJ. The DJ spoke into 2 microphones at the same time. One was for the left speaker and one was for the right speaker. And we call them channels. So one was for the left channel, one was the right channel. And they would do these things called, and I've heard old tapes of it and everything, they would go, stereo check. And they would take one microphone and lean over and just talk into it. And you go, left channel. And then they would take the other one and speak into it and go, right channel. And it would come out of the different speakers. It's so cool, man. DJs are cool. Old school DJs are. Those regular ones nowadays aren't. They're the type that wear station polos all over the place. That's not cool. The DJ is supposed to be dressed hip and cool, like in style. Not walking around in a station logoed polo. That's what management does when there are station events outside. They take off their suits and come out in the little polo. Trust me, I've had to fight that battle. Like, I'm not wearing a station polo to the concert. Are you kidding me? I'm TJ, damn it. I'm cool. Not some nerd running around here. A polo with the station logo on it. Get out of here. Give me a lanyard. That's what's cool. But anyway, it's a lot of new stuff coming. I'm excited about it. We got this text questioning what's going to happen. It says, hey, although I'm not sure why, since you're not as handsome as Bo, but my wife and I enjoy your show a lot. Just curious, what happens to the AM frequency, 1110 kilohertz, after January the 7th? Do you have a clue? Doubtful, considering you're not as handsome as Bo. Oh, and Merry Christmas, Scotty in Concord. I know they're going to do something with it. I don't even get invited to I wasn't even invited to the meeting where they announced to everybody that it was happening. Did I, Lonnie?
No.
You know who told me? Lonnie. That's who told me. He said, hey, man, were you on that Zoom? I said, no. What Zoom? I thought we had that this afternoon. He goes, well, that's a different one. I said, what? He said, they're moving the station. I said, where? I mean, I thought we're getting new studios, moving the building, He said to 107.9. I was like, oh. So, yeah, they wouldn't trust me with the information about what's going to happen to anything, Scotty. They didn't even trust to invite me to the Zoom of the entire staff. Everybody on staff was invited but me. That's all right. They said, well, we only have the email addresses of the people who get paid. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. But so I can't answer your question. Let's see. I went to Dudley, North Carolina this past weekend. This is Monique. Oh, Monique. Montague is her name. I had a signal on the AM almost to apex. It was incredible. Probably being overcast helped. I hope the new FM is just as strong. I'm 58 and absolutely love AM radio as I travel east and up to WNY. It's always been my favorite. Okay. Well, that is an AM thing. You can pick up AM signals in certain weather or at night for hundreds of miles because of the way that it goes through the ionospheric layer when the atmosphere is heavier. See, an AM signal will go up, hit the ionospheric layer, and just keep going, and then it'll travel and travel and travel and come down far away. An FM signal hits the ionospheric layer and then bounces right back down. Like it goes up like the old Pong game. You could play Pong by yourself where it was called breakout. It was when you go bloop, and it would just hit the little thing up and down and come right back down to you. That's what it does. It goes up, boom, right back down. You see, class? This is going to be an adventure for us all. But you know what? One thing I'm glad about is that I don't have to come help move anything. We're moving the radio station, but just by flipping a switch. You don't have to go pick up equipment and haul it across town. I've been there before, having to do that, and I'm glad I'm not doing it now. So let's see. I guess that was all the stuff. Well, no, here's a good one. Robert said, "You're a pretty boy, TJ." Well, I know. I'm just not as pretty as that Bo Thompson in the morning. He's in better shape than I am, and he's got hair. You know, that salt and pepper hair. That just does it for the ladies. Plus, he's the morning guy. The morning guy is always the, put him on a pedestal. I used to be that. I used to be it. I used to be somebody. I don't care. Like I said, when I first started this, my radio career has one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. I'm just trying to milk it for its last days here. Before I, go try to see if they'll hire an old man on the loading docks or something. Get into my twilight years. But I'm here to cheer you up tonight, in case you can't tell. So I've been in a little bit of a dilemma today trying to plan the show for tonight, because I try to find things that are different, not just from all of the stuff that you've been hearing all day. It's one of the things about being on at night. There are pros and cons, and one of the cons is that you've heard everything pretty much by the time I come on, especially if you're political junkies, which I figure if there are only 11 listeners, then you probably are. So I don't want to come and do the same stuff every night that you've been hearing all day. And at the same time, I don't want to do the same stuff that I do every night. I don't want to get complacent. I don't want to get predictable. So going through all of the stuff today that I use to monitor the news and what's breaking and what's interesting and all of that, there's been a lot of hating on white people. I mean, more than usual, it seems like today. And, as you know, that is one of the biggest problems, I think, in our society. And it's caused by the evils of the professional Democrats and communists on the left. This wedge, it's not just a wedge that they've driven between, we'll just say white people and black people at this point, because that's how it all started. And then the professional Democrats saw a way to bring other minority groups and immigrants and all in, and people of color into it. And I've seen a lot of things today of, social media posts and interviews on the street and things like that are not only infuriating and frustrating at times, they're also sad. To watch these brainwashed people, these drones have been programmed by the Democrat Party to sit and just, answer a question of, is there anything white people are superior? Name one thing where white people are superior. And they're just going off like stealing, violence, lying, pretending like they've created something, just crazy things. Just the hatred that these people, and there are tons of them, and they're all spliced together on these videos. And sure, I get mad and I go, well, Noah, you wouldn't be, I wouldn't be allowed to say that kind of thing about other people and da 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 da. But it's not just that. It's this constant war, this race war that the Democrats fight every day. They wage war. And when a professional Democrat, and remember, I say professional Democrat because it's someone whose livelihood depends on their being a Democrat. So it includes politicians, people that work for politicians, strategists, all of them, media people. It's this constant stirring up trouble and wanting people to hate, all in the name of maintaining or gaining political power and riches. Now, I do have some examples, but I got to a point today, I just had to put it down. I was like, I can't take this right now. And you know, first of all, I don't believe that all of these black people who are saying all of these nasty things about how terrible white people are, I guarantee you they have never experienced true bigotry at the hands of white people. They never have, but they've been convinced that they have. I mean, they have this this attitude and this hatred in their voices and this disgust when they're asked about white people, as if slavery is still going on and white people are still holding slaves. And I honestly think it's the work of the devil. I do. So I'm going to play some of this stuff, give you an example of what I'm talking about, and then continue my my analyses on it. But I'm speaking to you more as just a guy, a fellow citizen, not so much a radio host tonight. Okay, well, I'm running late here, so we'll get into all that as quickly as we can in the next segment. So hang on.
It's TJ Ritchie. He's radio royalty in the Carolinas and Queen Charlotte's sweetest prince. It's TJ Ritchie on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WPT.
The Green-Eyed Patriot on the air everywhere. Unapologetic, in-your-face conservatism. Bringing it every night. Every night that there's not a sporting event. Okay, so we're talking about how much crap that I have just been exposed to today of white people being demonized by everybody. And I didn't bring a lot of the audio in because it all just started running together, you know. I don't know what it is that was going on today, but there was just so much of it. I was overwhelmed. Black people talking crap about white people. Guilty white liberals talking crap about white people. Latinos talking crap about white people. Somalians talking about white people. I mean, just all of it just piling on. And it's all by design from the puppet masters in the Democrat Party. I even saw a thing today that Joy Reid was out promoting that the song Jingle Bells is racist. You see, what the professional Democrats have done is they have convinced anybody who isn't white that their shortcomings or their position in life, where they find themselves in life, is because of white people, because of slavery, because of segregation, because of, no civil rights and all of that. And so they convince black people, and it gets handed down for generations through the family, that they're never going to have anything because white people have kept them down for so long. They can't fight back up and get onto a level playing field with white people because of white supremacy and all of that. And it's not true. But I will tell you this. Black people have been kept behind by white people. Black people for a long time have been oppressed by white people. But it's a specific group of white people. It's white Democrats. White Democrats have done all of the harm to the quote unquote black community. White Democrats and the black Democrat leaders who have fallen in with them. So yeah, if you want to break it down like that, sure. If you want to look at it like black people as a community, as a whole, are behind where white people are and Asians are in the success ladder of success in life, then yeah, okay. It's because white Democrats have been fighting against black people the whole time. White Democrats have never wanted the best for black people. Never. They want to keep black people under their thumb, under their control. And that's why it threw the Democrat politicians for such a loop whenever black people weren't falling in and fighting against ICE and everything in the beginning. They said it's not our fight. But what did the Democrats do in the media? You know, the white Democrat bosses, they come out, they convince black people that they're next. Even though you were born here, your parents were born here, you're a citizen. If they can just kick out these poor brown people for being brown, they're going to come for you and kick you out for being white. For being black. That's how cruel they are, these Democrats. That's how evil they are. But I hate to say it, they're getting more and more successful with that trick the farther we go. All right, hang on. We got to get to the next hour. Running late here, so we'll get into that coming up next. Hold on.
More of the TJ Ritchie Show is coming up. News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT proudly presents America's coolest conservative. Well, proudly could be stretching it a bit. Welcome to the TJ Ritchie Show.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the most important radio show in America. In America. So, we're talking about this constant barrage of white hate that is in our culture today. And it's depressing. It really is. Especially, almost everybody I know, or I would say everybody I know, because I don't know any racists. Let me put it that way. I don't know a single racist. And I definitely don't know any white supremacists, nor would I ever be friends with them. And every white person I know, and I'm from a predominantly white family as well, they're not racist. Now, white supremacy used to mean something else, but when Democrats and race hustlers figured out that they could weaponize that term and just identify anything that white people do that that criticizes or goes against what anybody, quote unquote, of color wants to do, then they're white supremacists. So they've created all these ways, because it's been a long, long time since this country was considered, to be, I don't even want to say predominantly racist, but since this country has been, since racism was a thing that you had to be concerned about. You know, my heyday was in the 80s. I graduated high school in 1987. I come from a town that's 50% white, 50% black. Never had one instance of racial strife growing up in a rural, deep South town. And again, if you take people one-on-one, leave them alone, just let people associate with each other and judge each other person to person, you wouldn't have all of this strife. And it's so frustrating because the history is clear. It's actual and factual, as they say, that the Republicans have always been against racism, slavery, and segregation. Always. It's why our party was created. It's the main platform on which the Republican Party was created. Yet, Republicans are still considered the racists. Well, what has happened is that over the years, it has been so long since someone could actually point to a problem widespread with racism that the race hustlers and the professional Democrats have had to invent things to point to and call it racism. So that's why everything is white supremacy, white privilege. Now, in the state of Kentucky, a few years ago, there was a bill introduced to ban DEI and teaching all that in schools and all that stuff, and it was voted down. Well, it's being brought back up again, and this is a clip of a Kentucky state representative named Sarah Stalker. Sarah Stalker is a white woman. She is a white liberal woman. So right away, you know that she's got squirrels in her head. And I want you to listen to what this wench says in the House in Kentucky to plead the case for teaching DEI to children. Cut 40, go.
I'm going to be honest. I don't feel good about being white every day for a lot of reasons. Because it's a point of privilege that I get to move through the world in a way that so many of my other colleagues and friends and family members of the community don't get the privilege to do. And I'm just a female, but just a woman, just a white woman. If I was a white man, I would be functioning from a point of an even greater privilege. I think we're missing an opportunity when kids have a moment to reflect about how the color of their skin does and does not allow them to move through the world. running to them and trying to stifle that and trying to say you shouldn't feel bad, so we don't want to ever expose you to something that is going to make you have to pause and have maybe some internal feelings. It's a missed opportunity for some really good dialogue. I'm going to be honest, I don't feel good about being white every day.
Okay. So she's a race hustler, and she is claiming to suffer from white guilt. I don't necessarily believe that. I think she's full of crap. She's just a regular Democrat, Marxist politician who's trying to maintain control over black people by lying to them. But in the process of that, she is suggesting that we teach white children that they are born evil and that they are oppressive simply by their birth, and all other children are to be taught that white people and the white children at school are bad. Isn't that cruel? And you know, being white, that is the only race that ours is the only race that our people are taught to be ashamed of. You know, if you're white in America, well, hell, if you're white anywhere, you should be running around apologizing all the time. Every other race, be proud of your culture. Be proud of your heritage. Be proud. Be proud. White people, you should be ashamed. You shouldn't even show your lily white face around here because you're so disgusting. And you better not have an opinion about anything, being white and all. A great philosopher once said, well, cut 41, Lonnie, I'll just let you play this great philosopher and how much sense he makes. Go ahead. If you could grab that one. Cut 41.
Y'all gonna push these white folk till they can't take it no more. I'm telling you. You fool around here with Obama? You gonna let this long-legged Mac Daddy push these?
All right, that's enough. It was supposed to stop after it said, I'm telling you. I could have given you a little bit more of a heads up, but it is getting to that point, and the Democrats and the Marxists on the left are pushing it and pushing it. And, well, I got to take a break, but there is, you know, a rumbling of a movement that is out there, and it is because of the constant bashing and demonization of white people. And it's not good. It is not good at all. So I'll explain that, and we'll talk about it coming up next. Hang on.
The TJ Ritchie Show. He's America's coolest conservative. Welcome to the TJ Ritchie Show on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT.
Call or text. You only have a few hours left to be able to call 704-570-1110. That's right. Because the number is going to change when we are not on 1110 anymore. Big change tomorrow. I don't know if you've heard about it. The radio station has barely mentioned it, but we're changing over to an FM signal, 107.9, and it'll be huge. So if you want to call or text 704-570-1110, thanks to Liberty Buick GMC. All right, so we're talking about this, and I think it's coming to a boiling point in our culture of demonizing white people. You see, what's happened is you've got an entire generation now, a young generation of white people who have been labeled as evil, oppressive, privileged, And, you know, when you say somebody's privileged, then right away you're erasing anything that they've ever accomplished through hard work or whatever means that they've accomplished it, because you're saying they're just privileged. Of course you're going to be successful because you're white. Like I saw some liberal white jackass the other day on social media saying, you know, if you're a white man and you're not successful, then you must be, and he used the R word. Like, it's just like people just walking around handing white men things in America. Like, here's a job for you. Hey, here is a winning lottery ticket for you. It's just a bunch of propaganda. And they years ago, they've determined what the target is. The big target is white people. The bullseye as a political target is white men, masculine white men. Now, I've said before, you could be a gay white man, but if you're masculine, then you're still on the hit list. Because they can't, you know, it's the identity politics means that they have to be able to identify who you are to be able to use you. And if you're running around as a masculine guy and they can't automatically detect or identify that you're gay, then you're no good to them. So you have all of these white people. Let's just take the young white men right now as the example. And they have been told their entire lives that they're no good. They're evil by birth. They're thieves. They're living on stolen land. They're just, you know, it's just a constant banging in their heads of how horrible they are. And they look at it like, well, I've never done anything to anybody. I've never hurt anybody. I've always been nice to people. I've never mistreated anybody because of their race. I haven't been handed everything in my life just because I'm white. I've worked for it. I've lived right. I've been law abiding. I've got to, you know, you're going to punish me and say that I'm awful because my parents decided to make good decisions and raise me in a good home and teach me values and all this stuff. So they're sick of it. So what happens when you get sick of something or when you're falsely accused of something? You rebel, right? Well, some of these young white people are rebelling now. And they say, all right, you say I can't say this, I'm going to say it. And it's coming out as it's coming out as anger and hate, which plays right into the hands of these Marxists on the left. You see, they want us at each other's throats all the time. Because when there's chaos in the society, then it breaks things down and it allows them to move in and take over. And they're not just going to take over white people. They're going to take over white people, black people, Hispanics. I'm sorry, black and brown, everybody. So you get these people like Nick Fuentes, who's a 27-year-old podcaster. We've talked about him before. He's a little jackass. He's an excrement bag. But he's critical of black people, and he says shocking things about black people and Jews and women and all of this stuff. And it's you know, he gets these followers like, yeah, you know, other young white men who are tired of being falsely accused of being evil. So the response is to act like heathens and say, you're not going to tell me I can't be racist. Now I'm going to be racist. You call me a racist, I'm not a racist. You call me a white supremacist, I'm not. But I'm going to show you what it would look like if I was. And then you end up with chaos. Again, groups against groups never is a good idea. And the Marxist, communist, Democrats know that. And that's what they do. They've been doing it since the 60s. Because they don't care. They don't care about our society. They really don't. I mean, that whole movement, that Marxist, communist, leftist, Democrat movement is made up of a bunch of narcissists, clinical narcissists. Not just egomaniacs. It's beyond that. It's a clinical definition of narcissism. that runs that party. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care if they hurt somebody who is the same color as they are or an opposite, because they don't care. But in America, a free country, that is the freest, most liberated country in the history of this world, you cannot have a constant demonization of a certain race, especially when they're innocent of what you charge them with. And I don't care what anybody says. This country is not systemically racist. Are there racists? Yes. Are all the racists white? No, not by a long shot. Remember, the definition of racist is someone who believes that their race is superior to other races by birth. And you can turn, open your phone and start scrolling social media at any time of any day and see videos of every other race talking about how much better they are than white people, and how white people are the worst, and how white people are disgusting, and white people stink. White people don't even use wash rags. That's another thing that goes at. They're dirty because they don't even use wash rags. They smell like wet dogs. And it's, it's kind of played out, really, to state the obvious in these sorts of things. Like if you had white people standing up saying the same thing about black people or Hispanics, it just, like, they'd probably be killed. They'd definitely be canceled. They'd probably be killed. So then the young white people see that too. They're like, hey, this is not fair. That's not fair. Why are you saying that about us? Why are you allowed to say that and we're not? So you're going to get some people who are going to say, hey, I'm going to say it, and if you got a problem with it, come tell me. And then there's going to be blood in the streets. Again, playing into the hands of the Marxist, leftists, Democrats. And we don't need that. But then you got the black race hustlers who are always quick to tell black people who have a different opinion of white people that they're acting white. They're talking white. They're Uncle Toms. So it's coming from every side. And as the great philosopher, the pastor, Reverend Dr. David Manning of Harlem, has been quick to tell us, this is not going to be good, because
y'all gonna push these white folk till they can't take it no more. I'm telling you.
There you go. Take it no more. I'm telling you. All right, we got to take a break. We've got something to tell you about these Somalis. Oh, big news about the hot Somalis in Minnesota. Coming up next.
It's TJ Ritchie. Radio, podcasts, and cool social media content. Get all the TJ you can handle at WBT.com/TJ. Now, back to the TJ Ritchie Show on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT.
Ooh. Rocking at the speed of light. Unapologetic, in-your-face conservatism. Right. Before we get to the hot Somali information, I just want to say there has never been a better example of the stupidity of Democrat policy, like what's going on in the big dangerous city of Charlotte right now. I mean, it's pathetic, absolutely pathetic. But this is the way the ignorant Democrat mind works. I'm talking about the light rail situation. So you have this, the first heinous crime that takes place on the light rail that makes national news. A black man stabs an innocent young white woman in the neck, kills her, and come to find out he's been arrested many times and turned back out onto the street to wreak havoc on innocent people. Other incidents have happened since then, stabbing, the whole thing. And first of all, the liberals that run Charlotte made a big deal about hiring more security. We got to get, we're going to let the people know that it's safe to ride the light rail. And they go out and get these security people. Oh, but no, we can't let them have guns. No, we're anti-gun in the Democrat Party, We're anti-Second Amendment. We're not giving them guns. Are you crazy? We're not going to give them guns. Huh. Still public outcry. People aren't riding the light rail. Now, public transportation is, that's butter to Democrat politicians. The more people they can get who turn to the government to get them to and fro, the better. Having a vehicle and driving a car is freedom. So they don't like that. So they want everybody that they can possibly get riding on the public transportation, having to rely on the government to get them where they're going. Yet, people are, hey, I'm not going to give you what you want riding that public transportation if I got to worry about being killed. So they do these, symbolism over substance things. They put these people on, the security people on these trains. That money is coming out of taxpayer pockets. And for what? For them to stand there and they got a phone. They're going to report it. I don't even know. I'm fairly certain that if you got just a rent-a-cop on a train and a crazed maniac pulls out a knife and starts stabbing somebody for no reason, if you don't have a gun or some sort of a weapon that's better than a knife, you're not going to jump in the middle of that. But you see, they can say, look what we did. And then they go, well, how do we, and they're not, these aren't customers because the city doesn't make money off of the public transportation. It's the opposite. But they have to get the people on it. So what do? They say, let's gather up. Let's go ahead and steal another, couple $1 million out of the pockets of the people who earned it. And let's hire a PR firm and let's do some ads letting people know that it's safe to be on the train, even though we really haven't done anything to make it safer. We've got to convince them that it's safer. That's the Democrat way. Symbolism over substance. But it's always easy when it's not your money, When you just got access to big piles of money that you didn't have to get out and earn. Like I always say, taking money out of your pocket to help someone in need is noble. Taking money out of somebody else's pocket to do so is criminal in any other world than government. But yeah, that's just the quintessential Democrat mind. If you wanted to teach a class on how messed up Democrat politicians are, you could use this Charlotte light rail situation as chapter 1. in the what not to do to have a safe society and for people to live confidently in their city. It just, I mean, I don't even know how some of these people, not just how they got elected to a high office in the city, but how they know how to feed themselves. I mean, I don't mean like getting the money to buy food. I mean the action of picking up food and making it into your mouth. They're that stupid. But then again, they're professional Democrats, so they're either stupid or crooked. Those are the two choices. And tell them I said it. I don't care. I wish you would. I wish you would tell them I said it. Because, I mean, they're the ones living it. Living the life of either crooked or stupid. I don't know which one's worse. I think maybe giving them the benefit of the doubt if they're just that stupid is a little bit better than doing it on purpose and being crooked, corrupt. All right, so we'll talk about the hot Somali situation in Michigan. We'll get to that in the next segment that I was supposed to get to in this segment. But remember to talk about the Democrats in Charlotte. Okay, we're all good. It's all lined up now. We'll get to it next.
The TJ Ritchie Show. Identifying liberalism and mocking it relentlessly. This is the TJ Ritchie Show. On News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT.
We're just a little over 3 hours away from WBT moving over to 107.9 FM. The change happens at midnight. Set your alarms, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to want to be here to witness it. I will be fast asleep. I'll hear it tomorrow. I know that there will probably be some people at the radio station camped out. Not listeners, but radio geeks in the building. Like Lonnie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Lonnie, are you going to be in that building by, you still going to be in that building by 9:03? I doubt it.
Yeah, man. I'm going to be here, have my popcorn. I'm going to be chilling. I'm going to be ready for the big change.
Uh-huh. I know you are. I know you are. Okay, so here's the hot Somali news. They have uncovered the fact that more than 8 in 10 households headed by Somali refugees in the state of Minnesota are on one or more forms of American taxpayer-funded welfare. That's the new data published by the Center for Immigration Studies. The data, based on 10 years of information from the Census Bureau's American Community Survey, shows drastic disparities between native-born American households and hot Somali-born households in Minnesota, where nearly 80,000 residents have Somali ancestry compared to 0 who had Somali ancestry in 1990. So this is where our immigration system, as the kids say, got all twisted. You see, being an immigrant to the United States is supposed to be a privilege. It's supposed to be an honor. It's supposed to be given to people who have gone under investigation, and we have determined that you a foreign-born person, if we give you the gift of being a legal resident of the United States, it's because we feel like you are going to help the country. You're going to make the United States of America better by being in this country, working and living. Now, if you are in this country and you are on the welfare, then you are not contributing and making the country better. Duh. But where the immigration system has just collapsed on itself as far as what it's supposed to be, is that you cannot have a vast system where an underclass of people are allowed into the country and given benefits from the taxpayers. You just can't do it. You cannot, a country cannot survive doing that. So all these Democrats, let them all in, bring them all in. And they pretend that it's because they're so kind, so generous, so warm-hearted, unlike those evil Republicans. But everybody knows that the Democrats want foreigners here for several selfish reasons. One is they want to somehow get it to where they're going to vote for them. They wanted to change the census so they get more representation in Washington. And they want the chaos. And they want every foreign culture that they can get brought into the country to tear down traditional American culture because they're a bunch of Marxists. Here's what should be proposed to these evil Democrats, these commucrats. You say, okay, well, let's say we will let however much, like a huge percentage of these people who have come to the country, we'll let them stay, but they get no more welfare, and they're never going to be allowed to vote. The prize they get for coming over here is that, one, they're in the United States of America where they can, thrive if they choose to. But they won't be part of the system in a way that they're getting handouts from the government and they can't vote. But they get to live in the free, liberated society of the United States. How many of these Democrat politicians do you think would be on board with that? None. They wouldn't. Because they don't care about the well-being of these people. You say, okay, well, and new immigrants that come in, if they're not vetted like they're supposed to be, where we grant legal status, like work visas and things like that to people who can actually help the country, like doctors and engineers and computer tech people and those sorts of people. If we allow the others in, then they get maybe a month's worth of welfare benefits just to give them time to find a place to live and a job. And then after that, it's gone. And if they can't survive in America on what they can make or what they can figure out in a month, then they'll just go back. That's heartless, though, right? It's cruel. You know what actually is cruel? For law-abiding American citizens to go out and work every day to provide for themselves and their families. They don't ask anybody for anything. And then the government comes at the point of a gun and demands that they give up their earnings And then those earnings are given to people who don't work for them and who are in this country griping about it and acting like they're in the worst place in the world with no gratitude whatsoever for being here. Trying to turn America into the terrible situation that they left, all at the expense of hardworking, law-abiding Americans. That's what's cruel. But you see, these commucrats, they don't want assimilation from these people. They want to tear down the American culture, and the best way to do that is to import all of these people from the third world and tell them that it's racist for America to tell them they've got to leave their culture behind. So something's got to be done. 80% of Somalis in Minnesota are on welfare. That cannot survive. That can't stand. So it has to be cleaned up. All right, Mark Levin is coming up next. Don't forget, tomorrow is 107.9. God loves you and ain't nothing you can do about it. See you tomorrow.
It's TJ Ritchie.